Okay, this is going to be about some stuff. Yeah, my chair's creaking. This is going to be about some stuff having to do with the song "The Ghost of John James Christopher Benjamin Binns," as sung by Harry Randall. This song is definitely pre 1890, but I hope it's not too much before 1890, and I can make a case for it being included in this group that has mostly to do with Tin Pan Alley. As far as I can determine, it was being sung by Harry Randall as early as 1885. Now this is an American printing. We can see New York, S.T. Gordon and Son, and copyright 1888. But it was being sung in England as early as 1885 by Harry Randall. And here on this, it says it's got Harry Randall's name here as if he's the composer, but he wasn't. This doesn't have good information. It was written by Harry Dacre or Dacre. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but his real name was Frank Dean. Sorry. And he's best known for writing Daisy Bell, also known as Bicycle Built for Two. He was born, 1857 on the Isle of Man. He died in London in 1922. But according to this, which mostly what I could find was on Wikipedia, he sometime around 1886 or 87, he began. Let me just bring his picture up here. Well, that's not too big. Anyway, he was suffering stress from the life of a songwriter, trying to sell his songs. So he immigrated to Australia and kind of kept a low profile there for a few years. I think he still kept songwriting. He just he wasn't trying to get anything published or anything at that time. And then after that, he moved from Australia to the United States, where he lived in New York and got back into songwriting. So in the early 1890s, starting in 1891, he was living in New York and pursuing the life of a songwriter for a few years. So that probably means he was part of the very early Tin Pan Alley scene. And even though this song was written before then, that's going to be my only case for including it here, is that Harry Dacre or Dacre or Dacre, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. He was part of the Tin Pan Alley scene in the early 1890s. Now, as for the song itself, this version has I didn't use the third stanza of this version because it wasn't that funny, and it was mostly about his son instead of about him. And it's about how he tried to bring his son up right, but his son ended up running away to Canada. Apparently, from the context of the song, whom I taught to be honest and ever upright and hold on to money securely and tight, but a short time thereafter imagine my woe when I heard that to Canada off he did go. Apparently his son in this song fled to Canada to escape debt. That's what it sounds like to me. And this version here has spoken passages between the stanzas and the chorus, which I don't think was original. I think that was something added because of the way someone performed it in the United States, having something to do with this this American this American version, copyrighted and published by this company in New York. So I didn't use that one. I used a different one that I think is probably more original. I'll go over here to, there's a picture of Harry Randall, who was famous for singing this song and a bunch of other ones. There's the Ghost of Benjamin Binns. He was known for singing comedy songs. This is obviously a comedy song. And he was so famous that, according to this, his name became used in Cockney rhyming slang for candles, which became known as Harry Randalls and eventually just Harry's. So candles are called Harry's. I gotta remember that one. So we'll go to the Ghost of Benjamin Binns here, and this is where I got the third stanza that I used. And this is a very interesting third stanza. The first stanza is just about him being a ghost and the conditions that he exists with for being a ghost. He can't be hurt, he can't be stabbed with a knife, he can't be shot with a gun, but he wants you not to try it because he's afraid you might damage the walls. And then the second stanza is this is weird, but I'm actually feeling cold. I gotta put on a good shirt. The second stanza is about his wife remarrying after he died, which, you know, is not something unusual or anything bad, but apparently she promised him she'd never do that, and he was angry about it. So he was distressed that she found him with another man who she had married, and the man was wearing his clothes. The third stanza is where it gets really good. He wants to tell you about what he does now. So I get good engagements with cash in advance, attending the spiritualist's midnight seance. I guess if you pronounce advance with more of an English accent, advance, it better rhymes with seance, but I said advance and seance. Sounds funnier that way. I rap on the tables and kick up such scenes. I ring clanging bells and I bang tambourines. All these things were things that spiritualists did, of course, to try to show that there were spirits in the room. And if I think I mispronounced masculine. I said masculine when I sang the song, but I think it's supposed to be masculine. But I was afraid if I sang masculine, it would sound too much like masculine and be confusing. So I said it different. If masculine says ghosts are bosh, he is wrong. For if he comes near me, he'll smell spirits quite strong. So I think we can assume that one of Benjamin Binns' sins is that he drank too much, and when he's around, you can tell he's there because you can still smell the alcohol on him. So who is masculine? That was my immediate question. This gets good. John Neville masculine. Let's see if I can get a picture of him there. There we go. He looks like a no-nonsense kind of guy who didn't take much guff from anybody. I mean, with that kind of mustache, you know, he probably didn't take anything from anybody. He was a stage magician. He invented the pay toilet. He also, him and his son also together invented I guess the first typewriter that had what we would now call a variable pitched font instead of a fixed pitch, like most typewriters were in the olden days, where all the letters took up the same exact amount of space on the page. And we can see he also wrote a book here called Sharps and Flats, A Complete Revelation of the Secrets of Cheating at Games and of Chance and Skill. And he also founded this thing called the Occult Committee, a group to investigate claims to supernatural power and to expose fraud. If you know anything about stage magicians, you'll know that many of the tricks that they use are the same tricks that were used by the spiritualists and still are used by people today who are more likely to call themselves mediums, probably, rather than spiritualists. And you can think back to Houdini, who made a big thing about going around and exposing the fraud of spiritualists. Maskelyne was before Houdini, doing the same thing. So that's one of the things he did. Other than just being an inventor and a magician, he made it his business to expose fraudulent spiritualists. So that's who Maskelyne was. Here we see he was a member of the Magic Circle, which was an organization to promote stage magic, not supernatural magic. And like Harry Houdini, he tried to debunk people who claimed to have supernatural powers. And he would replicate what they did, with his own skill, and then show how it was done. Here it says that they invented a typewriter whose types were inked by a pad instead of a ribbon. I wonder how that worked. And he also invented this thing called the Psycho-Automaton, a machine that could supposedly play whist, which is a card game, I believe. I've never played it, but one of his children was named Neville Maskelyne. Both John Neville Maskelyne and his son Neville were alive during the period that this song was written, where either one of them probably could have been the one to be referenced in the song, but I'm pretty sure it was John Neville Maskelyne, because he was much bigger at debunking fraudulent spiritualists. So that's who Maskelyne was. But Neville Maskelyne was also interesting. He was similar to his father in that he did not suffer baseless claims lightly. And I believe that picture there, it's a small picture, but if you look at all this stuff on the desk here, I am pretty sure that's very early radio equipment. There's a big coil that might be a loading coil, or possibly even the antenna. Now it's probably more of a loading coil. The antenna would have probably had been outside. And it's too small to really tell what all this other stuff is. But in the early days of radio, Marconi, who's considered the inventor of radio now, made a claim that if you communicated by radio, it would be secure and private, and no one would be able to hear you, which is nonsense, because anyone with the proper equipment and the knowledge of how to tune it would be able to tune into your signal and hear everything. So this is a great article on it. The same picture, a little bigger, but it's still the same bad resolution, so it's hard to tell. Back then, they wouldn't have had microphones for their radios. They would have just had a key of some kind to send Morse code. So Marconi was going to demonstrate his radio, and I got a little app on my phone here that I can use, since I don't have my radio with my straight key set up anymore. I'm a ham radio operator, and I learned Morse code but I haven't been active in a long time, so I'm a little bit rusty on it. Let's see, where is this? Oh, here we go. All right. So when Marconi began trying to do his demonstration of communication, they began hearing this, something like this, over the radio, interfering with them. Let me see. That over and over, which spells rats. R-A-T-S. And then after this, Neville Maskelyne, it was Neville Maskelyne interfering with him to show that that the radio communications were not actually secure and private. And after that, he began sending a poem, which I haven't been able to find, but allegedly he transmitted a poem making fun of Marconi's claims of radio communication being secure and private. So he was another guy. Here, a quote from somebody: "The hush was broken by a ticking noise, the sound of a Morse code message. Then it got personal." So Neville Maskelyne didn't tolerate outrageous claims either, even going so far as to interfere with Marconi's demonstration to show that no, radio communications were not secure and private. They were obviously a breakthrough in technology that changed the world, but they were not secure and private, because anybody with the right equipment could just tune right in and hear everything that you sent. Of course, they would also have to be able to understand Morse code, because this was before microphones, like I said. And actually, back then, I mean, now, if somebody's transmitting Morse code, it's much different than the way it was back then. It's very efficient and uses a very very small bandwidth to prevent interfering with the other people trying to use nearby frequencies. But back then, they just had these things called spark gap transmitters, which just would literally throw a spark. You got the contacts close enough to each other that they would throw a spark, and it would transmit over the radio. But it was very dirty and very broad spectrum, so it was not hard to tune them in, because you could, if you could tune your thing through the band, and you'd be able to pick it up pretty easy, because it took up so much spectrum, so much more than it does now. I don't know how to explain it any better than that without getting really technical. So that's who Maskelyne was, and that interested me quite a lot, and I found it funny that first learning about John Neville, the father who made it his business to expose fraudulent spiritualists, and then his son Neville, who made it his business to interfere with Marconi's demonstration to show that radio communication was not secure or private. And of course, this made an enemy of Marconi, and he did not like Maskelyne. I don't think he really did stage magic like his father, but then he had a son who did, right here, Jasper, who did continue the family tradition of being a stage magician. So I think that's all I got. Oh yeah, I wanted to say a few things about the way this is written. Of course, we got 3/4 for the stanzas and common time, 4/4 for the chorus. But look at this right here. Look at this measure here and this measure here. Look at those. There's 1 beat, 2 beats, 3 beats, 4 beats, 5 beats. Wait, what? 1 beat, 2 beat, 3 beats. Only they forgot to put the triplets symbols above these notes, and that confused the heck out of me for a long time when I was trying to figure this song out. And they forgot them again right here. They should have had triplet symbols over those triplets right there. And then they're inconsistent here. They've got the triplet symbol here, but then here they forgot the swoopy line, which back then this didn't mean it was a slur or a tie. That was just how they showed which notes were triplets, and they forgot to put it on here, so we just have a 3 there. And got a fermata over that 8th rest, so that's where I stuck in the rooster crowing at the end of the song, just for kicks. And I used a lot of reverb to make it sound more ghostly, and I changed it to a sepia tone on the video also. I thought that helped it appear more ghostly-ish. So I guess that's it. This has probably been a long one for not a whole lot of information, but I found it really interesting. So I'll go ahead and get back up here to the cover, and I can fade out on the cover. That's all I got. Thank you very much.